Last week we talked about game tries and we talked about two different types of game tries. And what we talked about before that was the losing trick count, which helps with these game tries. So a typical minimum opening hand has about 7 losers using the losing trick count. So if you have an invitational opening hand, we would have typically a 6 loser hand. Opposite that, a typical minimum responder has usually 9 losers, and an invitational responder would have 8 losers. So if you're using the losing trick count, if you're in these situations where you're one better than the hand you're expected to have based on your role in the auction, whether you're opener or responder, you should make a game try. You should make an invitation if you found a major suit fit first. So the auction might start, I open 1 spade, you respond 2 spades, I'm the opener. So if I have a 6 loser hand, I should make an invitation. And instead of just bidding 3 spades as a generic invitation to cover everything, we have a bunch of other bids that we can use to clarify what my hand looks like and maybe help you make a better decision than just counting your high card points and deciding if you're minimum or maximum. So the two types of game tries that we talked about last week were a help suit game try, which I'll abbreviate HSGT. And this is the type of help suit game try that Klinger describes in his book, which is a very weak suit. A suit of at least 3 cards with at least 2 losers. So you make a game try with, of course, one loser better than you're expected to have, and you would have a suit, the new suit that you bid. So if we go 1 spade, 2 spades, 3 clubs, this is the trial suit. And our trial suit would be expected to be 3 small cards or ace and 2 small cards, king and 2 or queen and 2. In all of these cases, we have at least 3 cards and at least 2 losers. These small cards could be jacks or lower. We're only really interested, whenever in the context of losing trick count, we're really only interested in aces, kings, and queens. So this is what you would make a game try with, and your partner would accept if they have very few losers in that suit, 0 or 1 losers. And sometimes 2 losers if they have if they have a maximum hand otherwise. So I'll just put that here, 0 to 1 losers or 2 losers and otherwise a maximum hand.
So there's never any second bid that would tell you about a good second suit? How do you do that?
That's a different way that you could do that. So you're going to talk about these two plus a third way of making game tries that are not really compatible. You have to pick one or the other. You can't play them all. But this hand might work well with something like this. If I have 5 spades, let's say I have a singleton, or let's say I have 3 small clubs, and 4, 7, 10, 12, 14. So I might have a hand like this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I need to improve my hand a little bit. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, 6 losers. One loser in spades because again we only look at the top 3 cards in the suit. So we're missing the king. That's 1. Here we're missing the ace. That's 1 for a total of 2 so far. With the 2 card suit, we only look at the top 2. We're missing the ace. So that's 1 more here, a total of 3. And then here we're missing all of the ace, king, queen. That's 3 more losers for a total of 6 losers, which puts us at 1 trick better than our typical minimum opening hand. So if the auction goes 1 spade, 2 spades, here we might make a 3 club trial bid. And if our partner has 0 or 1 loser, even if they otherwise have a pretty bad hand, really, we don't need anything else from them. Because even with this, even before I filled in the rest of the hand, it looks like we're going to lose only 1 diamond, 1 heart, and 1 club. But we might have something like this.
You don't have to have one winning trick in that.
Yep, 0 or 1 loser. We've made a game trying club saying our clubs are very weak. And our partner has said, okay, well, we'll look at their hand and say, I have 0 or 1 loser. That's very good to have opposite a very weak suit. And they can bid 4 spades, even though they only have 5 high card points. Here we've gotten to game with 19 high card points. And what are we going to lose? We're going to lose, spades are going to run unless they're 4 zeros. So 90% of the time we'll pick up all the spades and we'll lose a heart, a diamond, and a club. And make 4 pretty easily.
You
We're missing
before,
the.
You said before that if you had an ace, an ace, a singleton ace against the 3, that's basically a 0 loser. So that
Yeah, that would still be
qualified.
good. Yeah.
Somehow I never got the
0 or
idea that it was weaker to have strong or points in that hand, but an ace, singleton ace is just fine.
Yeah, singleton ace is still fine. That's 0 or 1 loser. So your help could come in the form of being short, or could come in the form of just having that suit covered. This guy could just have ace king, and that helps because that's also only 1 loser. The second type of game try that we had discussed last week was a short suit game try. Also discussed in Ron Klinger's book. And this is where, so this is not compatible. You have to pick one or the other, or we talked about a way at the end where you can combine 2 types. But here you make your trial bid with a singleton or void. And then your partner would accept your trial bid, and by accept means just jump to game. Basically with 2 losers or more, not counting the ace. Basically, they would accept if they were missing both the king and the queen. Whether they have ace, small, small, or small, 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 those are both good hands to accept. And then you would need, but you would have 3 cards. So basically, this is kind of the mirror image of this. You're saying I have 2 or more losers and a 3-card suit. 2 losers not counting the ace. Or actually say with ace third or 3 small. And then, or if you have a maximum, you can have one of these, but with a king or a queen together with it.
But with the 3 low, isn't that 3 losers? So you accept him with 3 losers and that.
Yes,
That's not-
this 3 losers is an excellent holding to have opposite a singleton or.
Could you put up an example, Dan?
Yeah. So maybe I have a hand like this. Okay, 6 losers, 1 in spades, 2 in hearts, 1 in diamonds, 2 in clubs. Everybody see that? How do we get to that total? 6 loser hand, that's enough to invite. If our partner raises us, so the auction might start 1 heart, 2 hearts. Here, if we're playing short suit game tries, we want to tell our partner where our short suit is. So we'll bid 3 diamonds. And if our partner has a proper holding, that is, think of this as kings and queens are bad opposite a singleton. So if you don't have any of those and you have small cards instead, that's good. So if partner has something like this in diamonds, regardless of whatever else they're holding, assuming that they have a legal 2 heart bid, they should bid the game. And they might have something like this. And here, it looks like maybe we have a little bit of a struggle to make 4 hearts, but it's still a good contract. We're not going to lose any spades. We've got a 50% shot at avoiding a heart loser. So we have half of a loser here on average. We have 1 loser here, and about, we can usually get rid of our 4th club or make it good. So we'll probably win. We'll probably lose maybe 2 or 2.5. So we've got about a 50-50 shot of this game. Maybe that wasn't the best example, but if we put the ace down here and maybe a jack here, that works a lot better. But this is an example of a hand that would accept opposite a short suit game try. So this is all review from last week, and the main point is singletons and small cards belong opposite each other. And if you have that, then your hand is better than your point count would indicate.
It's really because you're negating the high card points in your opponent's hand is really what's happening, right?
Yes, that's a perfect way of thinking about it. So what Ron said is you are negating the opponent's high cards. And that's a good way to think about it. I want to give you another perspective on game tries, but before I do that, I want to give you a third type of game try, which is probably more popular, but not described in these books. And this would be what most people think of when they say help suit game try. So if you're playing help suit game tries, Klinger actually calls them long suit game tries, but the style that we taught last week was that you just have a really weak suit. What at least most of the people in our club play, or some sort of natural game try, is what I'll call it. And what this says is you have your trial suit is going to be 1 to 2 high cards, that is the queen or better, and 3 or more cards total. Something like ace, queen, king, jack. Actually, with the jack, it's even better. So you're going to have some broken strength in here. It's not going to be super weak, and it's not going to be super strong. It's not going to be ace, king, queen. What you're actually looking for here is something to fit in with your combination. Let's look at this one, for example, on its own. If we had the king jack by itself, that would be worth, on average, 1 trick, because you could lead up to the king jack, finesse the jack, later lead up to the king, and finesse the king. Sometimes it won't take any tricks. Sometimes you'll get lucky and both the king and the jack will take tricks, but on average, it's about worth 1 trick. The queen by itself is not worth any tricks, at least when it's queen doubleton. But if you put them together, now your queen is going to knock out the ace and your king jack are guaranteed to take tricks. So 1 plus 0 is 2. So what you're saying is, partner, I want high cards in your hand to work with the high cards in my hand. And that's more natural, and that's what most people are usually doing or thinking of when they're playing some sort of game try. So you're going to make some sort of game try with some strength, but not solid strength. And then your partner will accept with, at least one of those high cards that you're looking for. Except with a queen or better in that suit.
The bidding sequence, can you run through what that might look like?
Yeah, so maybe I have, let's say this is my trial suit, and here's my trump suit. And 3, 6, 9. So 13 points to open. Okay, so I might go 1 spade, my partner raises to 2 spades. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 losers. I need to make my hand a little bit better. And now is that a no trump bid? 4, 7, 10, 11, 16. There. 13 high card points, 6 losers, 1 in spades, 1 in hearts, 2 in diamonds, 2 in clubs, for a total of 6. That means we should be considering invitation. And if we're playing this style, natural game tries, our best trial bid is diamonds. Saying, partner, do you have a queen or better in diamonds? I would really love it if you did. And if partner has a queen or better in diamonds,
But not a singleton. Has to have a backup.
yeah, well, even a singleton is kind of nice. This doesn't quite make the game, so I'm just going to fudge a little bit. Okay, so here we're going to make 4 spades, because assuming the spades run, we have 5 spade tricks, 1 heart trick, that's 6, 2 more diamond tricks, that makes 8, and then we can pitch one of dummies hearts, or let's see, let me count losers. We have 2 losers here. We have 1 loser here, that's 3. We have a possible heart loser, but we can get rid of that potentially by discarding a couple of cards from dummy. So this isn't a 100% game, but it is good enough to bid.
So in that scenario.
And I've given responder the weakest possible hand. If they have anything else besides that, then the game is actually going to be pretty good. Yeah.
Is 3 diamonds considered forcing in that scenario?
Yes. Anytime you have major suit agreement at the 2 level, you're always going to go back to that suit. So 3 diamonds is forcing. You can't pass 3 diamonds. If you had a bad holding to go with that, same high card points, but now 4 spades is a really bad contract. We don't accept the game try, and we just go back to our major, but stop at 3.
And would the 3 spades bid be forcing pass?
That would be basically a sign-off. However, you can, if you have a really, really good hand, you can make a game try just to figure out how well your partner's hand fits with yours as a prelude to bidding a slam. So if I give myself this hand, I might just be bidding 3 diamonds just to find out, partner has this stuff covered. Maybe I have something like this, right? Just to find out if the diamonds are going to run, if the diamonds are going to set up. And a partner says, yeah, I've got the queen of diamonds, then all that's left for me is Blackwood. And hopefully we don't have 2 aces of spades. Maybe partner has ace of clubs. That's a little bit advanced, but know that you can do this kind of thing. I could open 1 spade, my partner bids 2 spades. I say, do you have any help for my diamonds? Do you have anything that fits with my own diamonds? And partner, by jumping to 4 spades, says, yeah, I've got something good that goes with your diamonds. Great. All I need to know now is, do you have at least 1 ace? And whatever version of Blackwood you're playing. If you're playing 1430, we go 5 clubs. And now we could make 6 spades on this hand. Just because we did this and found our partner's queen of diamonds. But we don't really need to think about that too much. Here, this is still a good, probably still a good 4 spade contract.
And you don't have to alert the natural game try, but you have to alert the 2 others.
Right. This would be alerted because it doesn't promise strength in your suit. It promises at least 3 cards, but it actually denies strength. So it's kind of the opposite of a natural bid. And this one promises shortness. This would also be alerted. But this is not alerted because it does show length and strength in the suit you're bidding. Now, I want to give at least 2 more perspectives on how these game tries work. So we talked about singletons, opposite, long but weak suits as being really good. Talked about a queen fitting in with a king and a jack, or with an ace and a king, or ace queen fitting with the king. But what all these invitations have in common is if opener makes them, the opener generally has 6 losing tricks. If responder makes one of these bids, they generally have 8 losing tricks. And an example of an auction that responder makes some sort of game try would be, it could go 1 of a minor, 1 of a major, raised to 2, and then responder can make a game try with 8 losers. So when partner makes a game try, if they're the opener, they have 6 losers, and if they're the responder, they'll have 8 losers. And one thing you can do, instead of referring to these charts and maybe forgetting what's going on, you can think of your hand in terms of cover cards. If opener makes a game try, with 6 losers, then to make a game, how many tricks are you allowed to lose in 4 hearts or 4 spades? 3. So you need to be able to handle 3 of partner's losers. So responder can accept with 3 cover cards. That means that's tricks that they expect to be able to win that partner wasn't already winning. So if my partner made a game try, let's say we're going to play natural game tries, and it went 1 spade, 2 spades, 3 diamonds, and I have a hand like this, spades, hearts, diamonds. I expect partner to be making a game try with 6 losers, and one of their losers I know is the king of spades, but I got that covered. One of their losers I know is probably the ace of hearts, unless they're void, and I got that covered. And they've got at least 3 diamonds, and they're looking for some help in diamonds, so I know my queen of diamonds is worth a trick. I've got 1, 2, 3 covers. My partner has 6 losers. I negate 3 of those, so we're only going to lose 3 tricks, I expect. If my partner's game try instead was 3 clubs, they might have more than one trial suit, but I don't expect my 3 little clubs to provide much assistance. And I don't expect my queen of diamonds to provide much assistance. So I have two cover cards. I might come back and say, well, I don't have anything in clubs. What about diamonds? Just to keep the bidding open. But in most cases, if you just reject the game try of 3 clubs, you'll probably be fine.
You reject just by saying 3 spades.
Yeah, you reject a game try just by going back to 3 of your major. Exactly. And in fact, if we split them this way, now when partner bids 3 diamonds, they're explicitly rejecting anything, especially a queen that we might have in clubs. Because if you have more than one reasonable game try, you usually make the cheaper one first. So partner is explicitly saying, I don't need help in clubs. I don't want help in clubs. I want help in diamonds. So this queen is a nothing card. I have 2 losers or 2 covers for my 6 losers from partner. So I expect 3 spades to be the maximum. 4 spades will go down. Another way to think of cover cards is, let's say we're going to play help suit game tries with partner. That means my queens are not so great, but I want shortness instead opposite partner's weak suit. Or maybe an ace. So if 3 diamonds is a help suit game try, as Klinger describes them, and I have well, here I have 2 cover cards, and I'm not going to accept that game try. But I can also count a cover card like this. I've got 2 cover cards, but I can also probably trump 2 of a partner's diamond losers. So that actually gives me 4 cover cards, and I wouldn't be surprised if we make 5. Although there's no good reason to bid 5. So I'm going to just jump to 4 and congratulate partner on the overtrip that they're about to make. So 1, 2. So these blanks here count as 2 cover cards when partner makes a help suit game try, promising a weak suit. They're not necessarily cover cards if we're going to play some sort of natural game try, like this style. His partner might have something like King Queen X, and the King Queen are going to set up, and I'm just going to end up roughing partner's winners. So my shortness is not really helping. So that's another way of considering whether you should accept a game try is count your cover cards, and shortness can count as a cover card as well. It's a little more, it's slightly more dicey when partner makes a short suit game try. So let's say this is a short suit game try. And the only way you know which one it is because you discussed it before the game started. But if partner has made a short suit game try, I might have something like this. And I think, well, if partner is short in diamonds, then they're probably looking for values in the other suits. So I don't want to have a queen or king of diamonds, but I don't mind having kings or queens in the other suits. This would strike me as a borderline, but I would still go. But it would be right on the edge of bidding 4 spades or not. I mean, I do have the perfect holding opposite my partner's short suit game try. I'm just not sure whether I really have 3 cover cards because these queens are not quite proven. But if one of them was a king, I'm willing to gamble on 1 queen. This would definitely be a 4 spade bid for me because I'm counting 3 cover cards. And if I had something like this, I would also bid 4 spades. Because if partner is short in diamonds, they're going to have length in the other suits, and I expect ace is going to be worth a trick, the king is going to be worth a trick, and unless partner has ace, king, queen of hearts, I'm going to be able to trump one of their losing hearts. And that's pretty rare. It's a small enough chance that I'm willing to gamble on that and go ahead and bid count. This is at least 1 cover card here, which is all I need. So responder can accept with 3 cover cards. One more idea I want to put out there is a concept called working points. It's a new type of points, well, new relative to high card points and length and shortness points. And this is based on some work done by Mike Lawrence and Anders Weirgen. But an ace is worth 4 points, a king is worth 3 points, a queen is worth 2 points, and a jack is worth 1 point in our standard high card point count. And then singletons have some value, doubletons and voids have some value. But the idea of working points is the ability to win the first trick. Is worth 4 points. The ability to win the second trick in a suit is worth 3 points. This one's running low. The ability to win the third is worth 2 points, and the ability to win the fourth trick in a suit is worth 1 point. So there are 4 suits, and that is there's still 40 points, so the math still comes out very similarly. But this does value your singletons and voids and doubletons very, very differently than standard point count methods. And they'll also count your high cards very differently than your point count methods, because these only count between both partners. So let me throw some cards up on the board. And this guy needs 2 more cards. So this concept has to be done in tandem with your partner. And you don't necessarily know everything about your partner's hand. But if we were to look at both hands, here in spades, we can win the ace, king, queen, and jack. So that's 10 points between the two hands. Here, we can win the first. We can't win the first trick, but we can win the second and third trick. We can win the second and third trick by winning with the king and the queen, or we can trump with the king and the queen, or we can trump the second and third round, and we can win the fourth round either way. So this suit is worth 6 points. 5 points for the king and queen, and 1 point for the singleton is another way you can think about that. This suit, we can win the first and third, assuming the cards are played in order. So this is 6 points, which matches our high card points. Here we can win the second, third, and fourth. So this 6 points matches our estimate or our regular concept of points. So 6, 12, 8, 28 points that's probably enough to make a game.
So why wouldn't the second one, the king, queen, holding there, why wouldn't it just add the 2 points between the second and, in other words, you got second and third round control.
Yep.
So that's 5 points?
It gives
Yep.
you some,
Yep, and then you have fourth round control. So this is really 6 points
I get you.
between both hands.
Gotcha.
Let's
Okay.
move some of these cards around. Let's take this king away and put it here. High card points have not changed. Whatever high card points they were before have not changed. But here, we still can win the second, third, and fourth round of hearts just by trumping them. So this is still worth 6 points. Here, we can win the ace, king, and queen. Now we have 9 points in this suit. And this hasn't changed. Same number of high card points, but our working points has gone to 31. Almost enough for a game. Or for a slam, I mean. And the idea is the less you have opposite the singleton, if I even just take that away and throw it in the trash, this hand is still worth about the same as far as working points. So the real question is, what is the singleton worth? And the singleton is worth, well, in this case, it's worth 6 points. When I had the king and queen up there, it was worth 1 point. When I had the king and queen and jack there, these can win the second, third, and fourth heart. These can also win the second, third, and fourth heart. And the singleton is worth nothing. Oh, because we can rough the fourth one. Even if we have king, queen, jack, 10. Yeah. Here, the singleton's still worth nothing. So this next, but you're looking at your singleton, you can't tell what your partner has opposite you, right? They might have ace, king, queen, jack. They might have XXXX. You can't tell what your singleton is worth. Your partner can tell them. If you tell them I have a singleton heart, and they're looking at king, queen, jack, they should be able to say, oh, your singleton is meaningless to me. Or they could be looking at XXXX, and they say, that singleton is awesome. That singleton is worth 6 points. How many points do we normally assign to a singleton as dummy? 3. So the singleton is worth 3 points in the standard point count methods. And our partner can say, well, if I have nothing opposite your singleton, I'm going to add 3 points to your hand. I'm going to add 3 points to our combined holdings. So this is worth basically a 3-point bonus. And if you're playing spinners or Jacoby 2 no trump or even some sort of short suit game try, then you can figure this out and say, well, what would normally be a weakish looking hand, I only have 14 high card points, but now it's gone up at least 3 points in value because I know you have a singleton. And if you've made some sort of splinter bid, maybe I'm going to go to slam or at least help go to slam.
But do you start playing this? Sometimes, you end up not having very much trump left if you're trying to pull all the trump. So certainly probably shouldn't necessarily go to get kids off the street.
Right. You would probably want to start off with a cross rough or at least roughing a few of your losers in dummy before pulling trump. King, queen, jack 10. Partner shows a singleton. I'm going to deduct 3 points from our combined holding. Say, your singleton is worthless. You count it as 3 points, but I know your singleton is actually worth 0, so I'm going to deduct 3 points. What do we normally count for a void, at least in dummy? 5 points. What is it really worth? Well, it can win the first, second, third, and fourth rounds of a suit. So it's really worth 10 points, assuming partner has nothing. So that means if I have an ace, king, queen, jack opposite your void, I would really rather you had your void somewhere else. That void is kind of worthless. We can win them naturally instead of having to trump them. So I'm going to deduct 5 points for having all of this extra values, wasted values. But if I have nothing opposite your void, I'm going to add 5 points. This is a huge valuable holding opposite your void. Or more precisely, your void is a huge valuable holding opposite my 4 little cards. Don't know if it's a void. That's true. But partner may, if you make a control bid in a suit where you've already made a singleton or shown a singleton, that guarantees a void in most systems. So that's my, this is kind of my own innovation here, and I've looked at a bunch of hands, and it seems to work very, very well. And I think it's no coincidence that the singleton being worth 3 points is exactly what king, queen, jack is worth. And a void being worth 5 points is exactly what ace, king, queen, jack are worth. So you can adjust by up to 3 entire points, depending on your holding opposite the singleton, or 5 entire points, depending on your holding opposite the void, which means you might have 15 high card points, and your partner somehow promises a void and support for you. Your hand could be worth anywhere from 10 to 20 points, depending on exactly what you have opposite that void.
So singleton ace, it seems like in a lot of places, if you have a singleton ace, you could value it instead of 4, maybe as high as 10.
Yeah. Well, depending on what your partner has opposite that ace, yeah. What I would normally just count it as like 6 points. I'd rather have an ace somewhere where it's working together with partners, kings or queens, than all by itself. Also, part of the value of a singleton ace, or the part of the value of an ace, is you can control when to stop the opponent's taking tricks. So if you have ace third or ace fourth, that's more valuable than a singleton ace because you can hold up if you need to and stop the opponent's third round when one of the partners is out. Or if the lead comes through dummy's ace and around to your queen doubleton, then your queen will take a trick unless your ace is singleton and you're forced to play it. So having the small cards behind the ace gives it some flexibility. So That's why they call it singleton stiff, because you have no flexibility. You have to play that card when that suit is lit.
Right.
Yeah.
With the, if you have a 5-3 fiat, and a 5-4 fiat, that would make a big difference about the singleton.
It would, definitely would. And I would be, when I'm counting points or evaluating my hand or whatever, with only 3-card support, I don't really go to all the way to 3 or 5. I only have 3-card support, especially with the singleton and 3-card support, because the opponents can lead a trump and maybe win the first round and lead a second trump. And now when partner tries to lead my singleton, the opponents win and lead the last trump, and dummy has no trumps left, and so the singleton turned out to be worthless. So yeah, I would definitely be wary of counting a full 3 points if I only had 3-card support for my partner, and probably would count it as, I don't know, 2, 2.5, or just think to myself, it's not quite worth the books say it's worth. Just like tens. I mean, tens aren't worth any points, but they're still better than deuces.